A deep and eerie silence where even the sound of your breath is lost. Space, a place where humans have always dreamed of exploration. But did you know that this endless void can turn into a terrifying nightmare? This is space, but for some, it is an endless horror. Are you ready to face the most real and terrifying space incidents? Number 6. Apollo 1 Fire, 1967. The catastrophic Apollo 1 fire occurred on January 27, 1967, during a pre-launch test for the first crewed mission of the Apollo program. Astronauts Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger B. Chaffee were inside the Apollo command module, conducting a routine test while the spacecraft was stationed on the launch pad at Cape Kennedy. Suddenly, flames erupted in the cabin filled with pure oxygen, and within a fraction of a second, the fire spread throughout the entire interior. The intense pressure and highly flammable environment prevented the astronauts from escaping. They attempted to open the hatch, but the situation was so critical that within minutes, all 3 crew members tragically lost their lives. This incident shocked NASA and the American public, as it was the first fatal disaster in U.S. spaceflight history and had profound impacts on the Apollo space program. The investigation revealed that faulty wiring and highly flammable materials inside the cabin were the primary causes of the fire, while the pure oxygen environment exacerbated and rapidly spread the flames. In the wake of this incident, the Apollo program was halted for 20 months, and NASA made significant changes to the spacecraft's design. Number 5. X-15 Flight 3 6597 accident. On November 15, 1967, Michael J. Adams, a distinguished test pilot, was conducting a suborbital flight with the X-15 rocket research aircraft, which was used by NASA and the United States Air Force for research on high-speed and boundary layer flight. He reached an altitude of 266,000 feet, 81 kilometers, and a speed of over Mach 5. During the return from the peak of the flight, Adams encountered severe control issues. The X-15, due to a combination of technical faults in the flight instruments and complex aerodynamic forces, entered a supersonic spin. Adams made every effort to regain control of the aircraft, but was unable to stabilize it. Ultimately, the aircraft broke apart at an altitude of 60,000 feet, and Adams tragically lost his life. This incident dealt a severe blow to the X-15 program, which had been one of the most successful experimental programs until then. Post-accident investigations revealed that Adams, due to receiving incorrect readings from the flight control system, ended up on the wrong path, leading to the loss of control. Additionally, the intense aerodynamic forces at such altitude and high speeds made regaining control nearly impossible. Despite this tragedy, the X-15 program continued and provided valuable data for the development of future spaceflight technologies. After Adams' death, the astronaut wings were awarded to him, as he had flown beyond the 50-mile threshold, which is considered the boundary of space. Number 4. The Soyuz 1 disaster, 1967. This mission, which was meant to be a significant step forward in the Soviet space program, faced serious problems from the very beginning. Shortly after launch, one of the spacecraft's solar panels failed to deploy, leading to a severe energy shortage. Additionally, several vital systems, including navigation controls, malfunctioned. further escalating the crisis. Despite these issues, the mission continued, and it was decided that the spacecraft would return to Earth earlier than planned. However, during the descent phase, the main parachute failed to open, and the backup parachute malfunctioned as well. As a result, the Soyuz capsule collided with the Earth at fatal speed, and cosmonaut Vladimir Komarov lost his life. This incident marked the first cosmonaut death in Soviet spaceflight history, and it sparked a wave of criticism regarding the rushed management of the Soviet space program. Investigations revealed that Soyuz 1 had more than 200 design flaws, many of which were known before launch. However, the pressure of the space race with the United States led to the continuation of the mission despite these problems. This tragedy forced the Soviet Union to delay crewed space flights and implement major design changes to the Soyuz spacecraft. Number 3. Soyuz 11 disaster, 1971. On June 30th, 1971, a tragic day in the history of Soviet space exploration. The cosmonauts of Soyuz 11, after spending 23 days aboard the Salyut 1 space station, were preparing to return to Earth. This mission, in which the cosmonauts conducted important scientific experiments and proved that humans could live and work in space for extended periods, was recorded as a major success in Soviet space history. However, as the spacecraft was re-entering Earth's atmosphere, an unexpected event occurred. The ventilation valve, which normally regulates pressure in the cabin, malfunctioned. As a result, the cabin rapidly lost pressure. The cosmonauts, who were not wearing spacesuits, as such suits were deemed unnecessary at this stage of the mission, lost their lives within moments of exposure to the vacuum of space. This disaster had a profound impact on the Soviet space program and led to extensive investigations. It was determined that during the separation of the spacecraft modules, a pressure equalization valve was unintentionally opened, causing a dramatic loss of cabin pressure. The valve had not been properly secured, and the forces from re-entering Earth's atmosphere damaged it. Despite this heartbreaking event, the scientific achievements of Soyuz 11 were still celebrated, serving as a reminder that space exploration, with all its accomplishments, is always accompanied by great risks. Number 2. Space Shuttle Challenger disaster. On January 28, 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger, while thousands watched its launch from Kennedy Space Center, was sent into the sky. This flight was meant to become one of the symbols of space success and progress, but it soon turned into a tragic disaster. As Challenger slowly lifted off the ground, within less than 73 seconds after launch, it encountered a massive explosion. The shuttle disintegrated in the air, and everything that was on board was lost forever. The O-ring seal in the right solid rocket booster, due to extreme cold, failed, allowing hot gases to escape and ignite the external fuel tank. The resulting massive explosion caused the shuttle to break apart in the sky, and the sound of the explosion was heard from far distances. This incident, in which Krista McAuliffe, a schoolteacher, was also aboard, was broadcast live on television to millions of people, including students across the United States. Post-incident investigations revealed that engineers at Morton Thiokol, responsible for the rocket boosters, had warned about the risks of launching in cold weather, but their warnings were ignored, leading to this tragedy. This disaster caused the Space Shuttle program to be suspended for 32 months, and significant changes were made to NASA's safety procedures. And number 1. Space Shuttle Columbia disaster, February 1st, 2003, was a day that would forever change the history of NASA's space missions. The Space Shuttle Columbia, returning to Earth after completing its 28th mission, suddenly encountered an unimaginable disaster just 16 minutes before landing in Earth's atmosphere. The incident occurred when a piece of insulating foam detached from the external fuel tank during launch and struck Columbia's left wing. The impact created a crack in the shuttle's thermal protection system, allowing superheated gases from the atmosphere to enter the shuttle and destroy it. Before this disaster, concerns had been raised about the risks posed by foam pieces in previous missions, but these warnings had not been given enough attention. After the tragedy, a thorough investigation showed how this issue could affect flight safety. The Columbia disaster caused NASA's space shuttle program to be suspended for more than 2 years, and new safety protocols were implemented to monitor damage during launches and develop inspection methods in orbit. This tragedy not only affected NASA's culture, but also emphasized the importance of safety and caution in space missions, reminding us of the hidden dangers in space exploration. The astronauts of Columbia never returned home, and in the sky only the memory of courage and hope remained.
Columbia, Houston, UHF comm check. Columbia, Houston, UHF comm check.